Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March meeting of the Environmental Advisory Committee. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First, quick item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from February. Does anybody have any questions, comments, additions to the minutes? No comments. Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all
Aye.
opposed? I have to add a little time there for you guys, but all opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Project updates and discussion. I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment to the agenda and let the sustainability topic go first, since we have some students here tonight and you don't need to, you're welcome to stay and sit in on the whole meeting, but it's not necessary. So Tony, Jonathan, whoever wants to, I guess, kick us all off.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to? Yeah, so the students, we found out about the new criteria for the PA Sustainable Communities certification. I guess it was about 2 weeks ago now. Students have been kind of diligently working to figure out which of the criteria would be best suited for McCandless, which criteria we would, I guess, be more easily would be more easily attainable, let's say. And then they've divided it into basically 3 categories: easily attainable, and then the 2 other categories would be focused on the amount of time and effort necessary to attain those points. So there is a threshold for the gold and platinum, which those levels, I'm sure the students will talk a little bit more about that, but those levels have increased since the previous criterion. So we'll have to do a little bit more work to reach gold again, and a lot more work to try and reach platinum if that's the goal. So I will leave the floor to you guys.
All right, hello. Thank you guys all for inviting us here to speak tonight. All right, I just want to check and make sure my mic is working. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? All right, great. Thank you for the nods. All right, we do have a presentation to share with you all tonight. I don't know if you all have access to screens, but I'm going to try to share my screen now. All right. As always, if there's any problems, just feel free to shout out, but we're going to try to be respectful of everybody's time, and we really appreciate the chance to speak with you tonight. So hi, my name's Anna. My partner here is Amy. We're both senior engineers at the University of Pittsburgh, and we're really excited about getting the chance to help McCandless out with this project. It's been really fun so far, and we're hoping to see it through to the last couple months here. So here's some topics that we're going to try to cover tonight. There was a memo that we sent out. Hopefully you guys have access to that. If not, we'll be sure to send it afterwards. But this is just an overview of what was written in that memo, which, like Dr. Hertzman said, is just a preliminary estimate of the new criteria that was just released at the end of February. So our goal here tonight is to first present the criteria to all of you and get some feedback on issues you think will be important and be supported by the town of McCandless, and to just get some feedback on what we're thinking. As always, our job is to serve the town of McCandless. So if you have any, ideas about things that we should pursue, things that the community really needs, we would love to hear it. So first up, we're going to do a comparison of the new and old criteria. Just introduce the new criteria to you guys because it has changed a lot. This new criteria focuses a lot on tracking and data management. So as you can see up on this graph here, there are 10 categories of criteria. There's 150 criteria split into 10 categories. As you can see here, the 2 biggest chunks in terms of percentage of points available are transportation and energy. So those are some things to keep in mind as we are going through this criteria. So total number of available points, 947. Currently, and this is not set in stone, but right now, 55% of available points is the threshold needed to achieve platinum. and 45% of available points is the threshold needed to achieve gold. Now we have identified about 140 points that we believe McCandless already qualifies for based on the past gold certification. So as you can see up on the screen here, this is a chart that shows the difference in points needed to achieve gold versus points needed to achieve platinum. So we have 282 points, additional points that we need for McCandless to remain at the gold level, and 377 points to achieve platinum. Now, that seems like big numbers, but in terms of the percentage of available points, the difference between those two categories, maintaining gold and achieving platinum, both in numerical point value and in the percentage of total available points, isn't that large. So we are going to give McCandless options in maintaining gold or achieving platinum, but we're going to recommend platinum level because the amount of work that you would have to get to do platinum is going to be roughly the same to maintain gold. So what Dr. Kurtzman mentioned about us splitting into the criteria into 3 different categories is shown here. So the points that McCandless has already qualified for, that's about 15% of the total available points. The rest of the points are split into what we call first tier and second tier points. So first tier points are things that we believe that there is significant support for in the town and are easily achievable. So this is something like including a briefing in a newsletter or just redoing some zoning laws. We know that there's a rezoning currently taking place, so something along those lines. Second tier criteria points are things that either 1, we don't think that there is significant support for, or 2, will take significant amounts of time, energy, and money to fulfill. So as you can see on the screen, the rest of the available points are split pretty evenly between these 2 categories. So we are going to have to dig into some of those tougher second criteria points in order to get either gold or platinum.
Okay, thank you, Annie. So now that we know about the points, the big question is how does McCandless achieve these points? So our team has came up with a couple different routes we can go to achieve these certifications. The first one would be to gain points from concurrent community projects. So these projects will be discussed more later on, but after doing a bunch of research and talking to a bunch of members of the community, we believe these projects have a lot of support and are feasible within the future terms of McCandless. Our second route would be to invest or support larger point areas. We will also talk about this later when we reference the subtopics of the certification. And just lastly, as Annie said, we really want to go with the future goals and interests of the EAC. So we are open to modeling our plan of action after what the EAC wants to achieve in McCandless. So first, we're going to start the point analysis by project category. Our projects are stormwater infrastructure, sidewalk and transit improvement, and bicycle transportation. So first off, why care about these categories? Number 1, they will improve the safety and wellness of McCandless residents. So for example, Pine Creek is an area that tends to flood a lot. So by improving stormwater infrastructure, we believe this will lower the flood risk for residents. Second, we believe there is reasonable support in the community for these projects. Of course, some projects have more support than others. And lastly, we believe that finding points within existing community projects will have lower costs than financing individual projects. Okay, so for the interest of time, we're gonna just breeze through these, but they are in the memo. So for stormwater infrastructure, there's a total of 83 points available. The largest criteria is the second tier, which is the longer term criteria. And so one of the examples of this is to create an integrated water resources management plan for the whole municipality. And the next project would be sidewalk and transit infrastructure improvements. This has a total of 57 points, primarily from the first tier criteria. And one of the examples of this would to maintain a complete streets policy, which basically makes streets more accessible and safer to residents using them. The next project that our team looked into more was bicycle transportation. This one has a total of 41 points. All the points are pretty evenly distributed amongst the categories, but half of them do come from the first criteria. So the criteria achieved under old standards would be something simple as implementing plans and policies to improve bicycle infrastructure, whereas the first tier would contain projects such as earning a bicycle-friendly community status for the community. And just an overall comparison of all these points, stormwater infrastructure does have the most points, and bicycle transportation has the least points, coming in at just under 5%. However, all these projects, when we consider the 45% of points and 55% of points needed to achieve gold and platinum certification, at least from the knowledge we have right now, these would be significant parts of achieving these levels. And so now we're just going to go into point analysis by certification subtopics, and we're going to focus on the criteria achieved under old standards and the second tier criteria. So this graphic was made by collecting all the points within the certification and just totaling them up by subtopic versus point amount. So for the points achieved under old standards, we found that waste and materials management had the most points, docking in at just under 30 points, closely followed by municipal operations. So some examples of criteria in the waste and materials management is to announce a goal to be waste zero and create a plan, and supporting or providing composting services to the community. And following this, for the second tier criteria, the longer terms, a significant amount of points is in the energy category. This stocks at over 150 points, and this is followed by transportation, which stocks just over at 50 points. And some examples of criteria in the energy category would be recording municipality energy intensity and tracking the decreases, and also owning or leasing renewable energy within the community. And with that, thank you all for listening, and we're happy to take any questions you have for the presentation.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I realize it's spring break for you guys, and I very, very much appreciate you taking time out of your vacation to put that together for us. Thank you.
And that was great. Thank you
all
so
for
much.
listening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the memo that you mentioned? I was checking my email and I wasn't finding it. Was that something that Jeff had sent to us, I think, maybe?
So we don't have access to the EAC contact list. We forwarded on. If it got missed, we can drop that in the chat.
Did you get it?
Yeah, it was Judy, myself, and John.
Oh, so I got it.
Yeah, sorry.
didn't
Oh,
get
okay.
Yeah, so sorry, guys. I should have
It's
checked.
okay.
Oh, there it is.
Let me forward it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. I would love to take a look at that.
So
I
that should have
apologize.
all of the charts and basically all the information that we said just written out.
That's great. That's great. I don't know. It sounds like a daunting task, though.
It's a little daunting, but we definitely think that it's doable. I forgot to mention this earlier, but we don't have the authority to release the criteria since they're still working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we can't present like full list of criteria because we would love to pick your brains about each and every one. But yeah, so we're not authorized to do that yet. So that's why we're speaking in like these kind of broader generalized terms.
Oh, okay. Is that information we'll have available in time for your project, or are we not going to get that yet?
So certainly we are going to expect it to be formalized in the next couple months. So by the time that McCandless is going to be thinking about implementing projects, we expect that to be formalized. Whether that happens before our project ends, we don't know. You know as much as I do on that front.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anna, are there any specific, and Amy, do you have any specific questions for us that we can help you with or maybe help guide you? I know that in our conversations, there were sometimes where you didn't know, there were times where maybe a little guidance would be helpful.
Yeah, so we do have some questions for the EAC, and mainly what's guiding us here is we just want to make sure what we propose is relevant to McCandless and to the community's interest. So we do have some questions up on the screen right now. We'd like to just have an open discussion. What would the EAC like to see in the sustainable, in our plan, our recommendations? Are there any categories that you think have particularly strong or weak support? And then our final question is just focused in on, do you guys want us to focus more on the areas where there's already points that have been achieved, or focus on really hitting those second tier criteria, which are going to be heavy like energy modeling and transportation infrastructure, essentially. So I just want to open the floor. Any comments are welcome.
Wow, it's good questions.
Well, we already have a focus on stormwater for sure.
Right,
I'm
that's-
not sure how well that'll fit in with the criteria.
And we also have the energy, right? I mean, you're working on the renewable energy piece,
Right,
right? Sustainability, so.
And with the new focus on putting zoning, you know, it'd be great if we could hit up some of these zoning related topics. I know you mentioned complete streets,
Biking,
right? Any of
And
those that we could wrap up into our new plan would be great.
Yes, so we've spoken to RJ Susko, who we believe is in the rezoning.
Mhm.
So yeah, we were planning on identifying all the zoning criteria and, you know, wrapping it up in a basket for her and saying, please, will you do this for us?
Oh, that is perfect. That's,
Yeah.
that is excellent. Thank you.
We know stormwater is a significant concern in McCandless, so we're going to try to hit some of those. Some of the heavier criteria in the stormwater category focuses on, I guess, legal aspects of flooding. So flood zones, you know, the One Water PA plan, that kind of thing. Is there anybody in McCandless that is focusing on that? I guess any kind of municipal department that deals with that?
There's the easy answer. to
Jack,
that.
are you gonna?
I just don't know where to start. First of all, please understand that there is legacy issues where we've got half of the town that has no stormwater infrastructure whatsoever. And then the other half, they were kind of ahead of their time when they built the northwestern quadrant of McCandless, and they have storm retention ponds. So there's you're talking two different things here. The storm retention ponds are badly neglected, and there's probably 120, probably 60 are managed by the town and 60 are managed by the homeowners associations that actually we can force to do what we need to do to get them updated. So it's a pretty monumental task, and it is being looked at. We have an ad hoc committee for stormwater too.
Okay. All right, great to know. We will definitely reach out to them
And a storm committee.
and see what they think on our proposals in that category. Sure.
Okay, Jack, could you be their contact?
I'm on the committee, stormwater
So-
committee, so I'd be more than willing to help. We're looking for any and all ideas right now.
All right,
We're actually-
I'm sorry,
we're
can I ask
ready-
who's speaking just to make sure?
Yeah, this is Jack Casey. I'm sorry, Amy.
Oh, hi, Jack Casey. I hope you're doing well.
Good. I'm on the stormwater committee, so I'd be more than willing to hook you up any way I possibly can. Just so you know, though, we are rewriting the ordinance for stormwater right now, and that'll come out shortly. And that's to try to be proactive about future development in the town. Try to correct some wrongs.
Yeah, that's great to know. All right.
So one of the unique aspects of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amy and Anna and John, I believe we would be maybe the first or one of the first that have seen this, sort of preliminary criteria, and potentially one of the first through the certification process.
Mhm.
So that might be kind of a unique feather in our hat.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that is correct. And actually, they're looking at how we manage through this criteria and our plans through all the way through it. And so, and with the students talking to the Sustainable PA team, they're kind of looking at that as, as.
All right. Do we get extra points for that?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should.
no, I don't think so,
Yeah,
but
guinea pig
Being
points.
guinea pigs?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
should.
so there are some eyes on us.
Any sense of what the reasoning was that the criteria got raised so high? Was it was too easy to get gold before, or too many municipalities got gold or platinum, or?
Essentially what happened is too many municipalities achieved a high level of certification. So in order to, raise the bar, keep communities moving towards a sustainable goal, they increased the criteria. Also, the new criteria reflects more of a tracking, like a data aspect than the old criteria did. So in the old criteria, you could kind of like one and done it. You didn't have to continue doing it. Now, a lot of the criteria, it requires continual updating.
Yeah, I would say that the criteria also focuses on a lot of more relevant issues to smaller communities. There are a bunch of points for rewriting stormwater ordinances and just smaller things that could really help the health and wellness of a small town.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think they're hitting a lot of the points that we talk about pretty frequently.
Right. right.
So I mean, they definitely took what we are working on and said, hey, how do we
Yeah.
continue to push forward with that momentum? So I think they're doing a great job.
No, it
Really,
sounds like
really
it. That's,
good.
I
And
learned
the
an
data
awful
is
lot.
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Well, one little note here that might be a parallel is I think some of the points and it might give us a few ideas. Like, we have the speaker series, for instance. I
Right.
don't know if there's a certain threshold of number of speakers or whatever a year,
Right.
But it might help guide some of the things we've already been talking about.
Mhm.
Sometimes we're at times flying by the seat of our pants. We might not have like an
Right.
exact schedule set up or whatever. But I think maybe we can, once we're allowed to see it all, I guess, we can kind of go through and maybe see if some of those items really would help guide some of our discussion in the future too. I think.
Right. And help us set schedules and give us deadlines and reminders of things we need to keep up with.
Yeah. Great job.
Yeah, great job. Thank you
Thank you
both.
very much.
Thank you to the whole team.
Yes, thank you guys for allowing us to come in to speak. I'm going to be adding my email in the chat here. Please feel free to reach out with any comments, concerns, questions. If you want the PowerPoint presentation, if you want a copy of the memo, we're super excited to be working with McCandless. So anything we can do for you guys, we'd be happy to.
Can we get a copy of the presentation?
Absolutely.
That would be great.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
guys so
you.
much.
If it's okay, I'll just send an email with to all of us, including them, and we can, reply all with whatever information, if that's okay.
Yeah,
That might
that
work.
sounds good.
All right.
Okay, I'll take care.
Thank you again.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Is that the group, just the two?
No, there's
the
four.
two
Oh, there's
oh,
two more.
four.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's spring break.
The other
right?
two are
So-
spring breaking. No, I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
kidding. I don't know what they're.
I don't know what they're doing.
Sustainably, they're sustainably.
That's true.
breaking.
They may
Yeah.
be spring breaking. though.
Sort of like Dawn's in
Yeah,
Africa right now.
right?
Can they see us right now, or they could just hear us?
No,
They could.
We can see you a little bit.
A little
Yeah,
bit,
we're
okay.
the little tiny people on the.
we're
On the
Far
the we're the room.
Oh, okay.
Big.
Yeah.
There you
A
go.
little teeny arm there. Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of duck over there, but, all right. Thanks again. That was a great
Yeah.
presentation. Next up will be Dave and litter cleanup.
The litter. Okay, I can shorten this up a little bit. We have cleanups scheduled for April 9th and April 23rd, both Saturdays, Saturday before and Saturday after Easter weekend.
Did you get those dates again?
April 9 and April 23rd. If you're thinking about it, if you want to sign up, if you haven't given your name to John, you are not signed up. If you tell me you're interested, that doesn't mean anything. You have to sign up with John. We met with, I'll talk a little later with Mr. Grimm earlier this week, but the thought now is that town hall will be open. So we are thinking about doing our kind of pregame breakfast rah-rah session beforehand. That hasn't been really thought out yet, or maybe doing it just one of the 2 days. We've got a lot of areas to cover. We're going to be focusing on advertising this month in March. Dawn has some suggestions and good ideas on social media and neighborhood groups and things like that. So she's going to be working with us. One thing, John, is to think about emailing the past participants. We normally do that. Okay. Last meeting, I talked about Franklin Park. They've contacted us last month about doing their own cleanup. I haven't heard anything more from them, and they've had probably 2 EAC meetings since then. Checked their calendar. They don't have, it's not on their calendar on their website, so I don't know if that fell apart or not, but we were hoping that they could do it also. One of those days there's at some point. We had 3 meetings since the last our last EAC meeting. On February 15th, we met with I mean our little sort of citizens task force group on litter. Met with Representative McCurry in his office. They're going to support us in terms of advertising and participation and that sort of aspect. The next day we met through Zoom with Senator Williams. They're really more into the how to get some legislation started or initiated and implementation of what's the governor put out, the litter action plan. So they're really, besides, the senator's district covers pretty much all the North Hills, or and extends either east and west in some direction. I'm not really sure, but so they're looking at more regional aspects of this. The other day, Monday, we met with Bob Grimm here. He talked about there's a strategic planning effort that the town is going to initiate in June, and really wants us to think about the effort and resources that are needed to combat litter. So we're going to be thinking about that and preparing some information for him. We have started to do pickup already. Saturday was a nice day. We picked up all of West Ingomar Road from, which is my street, from Perry Highway to the Franklin Park line. 10 bags of stuff. The phone books.
Gosh, they're smushed all over the road.
They're all over. I think I got 7 of them just in my area. Once you get a phone book in the bag all of a sudden becomes very heavy, because it's like carrying around a
Wait.
Yeah.
Like
a big jug of water or something. They're all waterlogged. So anyway, that's a big concern. We've talked about, is there anything we can do about it? It's not really a phone book. It's a yellow pages, it's advertising, it's for Verizon. It's not like 1985 when you needed the phone book to
I was
find
gonna
out.
ask, does
some-
anyone ever use those things? I don't know anyone that's even opens them.
Well,
Door stops.
Yeah.
Doorstops.
Yeah.
apparently there's some like old law that's grandfathered in that allows them to do that. I don't know. Nobody else
Really?
can drop an advertising bulletin or anything.
Yeah.
At the curb.
But, yeah, I was gonna say, how do they end up? They end up on the street. Like I walk in our neighborhood all the time. And there's easily 10 plus that are like smushed and spread out along the road. I just don't know how they can do that.
That's the PUC. But we do have on our website, our town website, I think you told me, Judy, you can go in and opt out and it all future
Yeah,
phone
there
books
are
will.
ways to do
Yeah.
that. But it is on our website.
It is the front page of our website. You can go in and a couple clicks, you'll never see one of those horrible things
Yeah,
in
I
your
don't
yard
get them
again.
anymore.
Oh,
So I think I tried that at some point and we don't get them.
But we need to advertise that. So
That's a
when
great
we do our
idea. And I
litter
think we
cleanup,
have
maybe
in
we
the
could add that
past.
to it.
I
Yeah.
am pretty sure it's been on
Fine.
our environmental tips, but we need to go ahead and publish that
Yeah, I
again.
was gonna say,
that's, well, it's like Jonathan said, that's almost more of a neighborhood type thing, because we're not gonna see a lot of them on McKnight or,
Yeah.
Perry Highway or that kind of thing. It's kind of a neighborhood thing, so. If you see it and it's obvious that somebody's not gonna use it, it's.
If I
pick
see
it up
one,
and
I'll-
throw it
But,
away.
but still, if it's on your property, just pick it up and
I know.
throw it away or
sounds
put it in the
logical,
recycling
but-
bin. But,
Logic isn't always.
and to me, it's, how hard is it? It's there, it's next to your mailbox, pick it up and
Yeah.
dispose of it.
The other thing we see is that people see a phone book and then it's like, oh, I can throw, I can attach something to your mailbox, or I can throw something else, or,
Oh, I see.
it
Opens
just
the door for someone
invites
to
other,
think.
other things to appear. I do want to get a kudos to Jack, has really helped in terms of, for 3 or 4 years, we've been trying to get the town to address tow trucks when there's an accident or a crash. The tow truck companies, they sweep up the street, they throw any debris just off to the side. It becomes part of the litter. Jack and Jason took it upon themselves and got the town to really try to, through the police, to try to enforce that the tow truck drivers have to clean up every piece of debris that's left from a crash.
Great.
So that was a big step. We've been trying for 4 years to get that done. So
We've asked the town to strengthen their contracts with the tow companies as well, so that it avoid their contract and lose their contract if they don't pick up.
yeah,
Nice.
Very good.
That seems so simple. But-
I don't know if that's
That's-
accomplished. We've asked.
Right,
Right,
right. No, that's
right.
that's great.
And it's going to be up to the police to try to
And we want the
enforce
police
that
to
or
sign off.
sign off on it at a crash. So,
Oh,
Anyway.
great job.
but if you're just involved in, you hit a deer and the bumper falls off and you throw it into the bushes, that's, and the police aren't there, then, that's something that we have to pick up anyway.
I suppose why not people just do that? But anyway.
Yeah, we had a couple, 2 instances really just in the past month where it looked like they swept up the street and then just threw all the debris in the grass and sidewalk. So one of those I picked up and the other one, the tow company came back and picked up everything. So that was good. So I mentioned we cleaned up Westinghamar Road. We cleaned up McKnight Arcadia intersection and McKnight. What's it called? Cumberland intersection. Gets a lot of litter down there. Another thing we've noticed, we're trying to get the town to be more proactive in terms of businesses and parking lots and that kind of stuff. If you look at McCandless Crossing, there's areas of McCandless Crossing that look like, a landfill with trash blowing all over the place. We had an instance where someone noticed behind the AHN building on McKnight, not the new hospital, but the other one that's down north of
Little
that.
community one.
Bunch of medical waste out in the back parking lot.
Oh, my.
So we've been, the town and the code enforcement officer's been looking into that. I don't know if there's fines involved or what, but it was clearly medical waste, vials, tubing, that kind of stuff was all out next to the dumpster. So that was
Yeah, it's
pretty,
dangerous.
yeah.
It's the one right below Lowe's there.
Um,
Where,
between,
I guess where Body Bar is. up
yeah,
above there,
body bar,
where the
not
the
out-
blood-
out back.
It's Duncan Road Extension.
No, it's
No, no,
off
no.
off of Arcadia.
Past the.
Just
Berkshire
just south
Hathaway.
of Outback.
Okay, where the real estate office is.
Yeah.
Berkshire.
Okay.
You go in, you go behind there,
Behind
and
Outback.
UPMC has a building there, and then AHN has another building there,
It
right?
was the AHN.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's enough.
Wow,
That's
that's
Yeah.
very
Wow.
productive month.
Yeah,
Dave.
that's right.
So-
Wow, thank you.
So I think there's a lot of like small steps we can do, phone books, getting businesses to clean up, tow trucks and that kind of thing.
Sorry.
Some of these small things that we can do, we're not gonna stop somebody throwing a can or bottle out the window or their sheets bag and their Chick-fil-A dinner and that kind of stuff. That's what we need to pick up, but some of these other things, if we can address like I say, some of the smaller, take some incremental steps in terms of prevention and addressing some of these issues, I think we can get some things done. Like I say, it's been 4 years and we've hit several dead ends on this, so hopefully Jack can help us out on some of
Yeah, it
these.
sounds like
issues.
you've had a little movement on some of those,
Yes.
so,
Yeah,
great.
for sure.
Right.
So that we keep it a little bit is with Pine Creek to just in the back of our minds that, in the summertime when the
Yep.
water level is low, of seeing if we can get something organized there, and I'll be happy to help with that too,
Right.
but just trying to keep that out,
Right, and that discussion's coming up. That's still on the agenda, so.
So there's no way to ban these, they're not really phone books, but whatever, I guess we'll call them phone books.
Yeah, they get
Yellow
called,
pages, yeah.
phone books, but they're really the yellow
Yeah.
pages.
Yellow
Yellow
page
book.
advertisements, yeah. There's no way to ban that within a community. Have you heard of anything like
You
that?
said
You have to go
it's
through the PUC.
PUC.
Good luck.
The
But we
Public
do-
Utility Commission.
Yeah,
Oh, I guess I always picture them with electricity.
it's
you
a
know,
state thing, so it's a
Oh,
mandate,
interesting.
it's total bureaucracy.
Yeah, lobbyists.
I tried that route,
Did you?
but it's not,
But I'm sure they look at McCandless as, kind of affluent, a lot of commercial areas around here, businesses and things.
Yeah,
We dropped off for their advertisers, we dropped off, 4,000
Yeah, right.
of these books in McCandless, so. Maybe
So
39.
what you're saying is
3,900
we should
got-
take pictures of the 3,000 that are smushed on the side of the road and give them back to their advertisers. I'm pretty sure they'd stop.
Yeah,
But I guess that's true. Who else is allowed to just drop things on the yard? 'Cause I
Yeah.
imagine they're not allowed to put them in a mailbox.
right.
No.
Right.
they put it in
But-
your driveway.
So who else has?
The two things that for me
Can do
is
that.
why anyone lets that sit there out.
Well, I know
on
that's-
their
Right.
property and
That's a good
stuff.
point.
Just throw it in your garbage can when you take your garbage down. And the other is the important one is that you can opt out. And I think we need to let people know that they can opt out.
Right.
that's really our solution. We've got to do a better job of educating the community.
Okay. And actually on the front of the Yellow Pages book, there is the website to opt out
Nice.
On the book itself.
on the book itself,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But you have to pick it up and
Yeah, you have to take it
Yeah,
out,
has to make it from your
Problem
driveway.
one, right.
take it inside, dry it out.
Try it out, yeah. I mean, think of the sheer, I'm just thinking of the waste
Yeah.
and, energy and material consumption,
Oh,
trees,
yeah.
just to,
Hey,
trees,
keep
right?
My forester buddies working.
Maybe if it's sustainably forested, yeah. I don't know, yeah.
And you can go www.yellow, it's either Yellow Book or Yellow Pages, I don't know, .com, and the whole thing is there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
it's 1985.
All right, great report. Thanks, Dave.
Okay, thanks.
Next up, do you have any updates on either Wall Park or deer management programs?
We're trying to get the three of us organized to get out to Wall Park to hike that, to then put together a plan that we can bring back and look at. With the deer hunting, they are to the Suburban Whitetails doing a presentation to the council on Monday. The biggest takeaway from that is that I think that we pushed them heavily to include people that had been hunting on those properties to give them first shot at having the opportunity. And a lot of them are going to get fired because they had to keep track of their hours and stuff, and they virtually didn't hunt.
Nobody did it.
So they're gonna lose that privilege, I think, but that report will be on Monday.
Interesting.
That's, we really pushed them to include the local people so that we didn't have animosity and
Mhm.
get anything in place.
One, sorry, one thing that would be interesting, I assume it's still illegal to be feeding deer.
There's
Town.
actually an ordinance for that, yes.
So one night I had the dog out in the back and there were 16 deer in my backyard, and that was a world's record. And I said, well, I wonder if because my neighbor down the road a couple of years ago had this feeding station out in the back. So I went down and looked and it wasn't there. So I was just curious if,
When you get bad weather and things, deer tend to
Herd up, yeah.
herd up. For me to have 12 in my backyard is kind of normal. They bed down at the back into my. So I'm really wanting to get people to hunt between my house and North Park. And
right,
they hunt, they just trophy hunt. So again, we need the education of getting people out there that will harvest mature does, and then there'll be more trophy deer for the guys that want trophy deer.
Hmm.
What was the breakup between the doe and the bucks?
I don't recall, because they had combined loss. McCandless and Franklin Park. So it's kind of combined in my head.
They did. I think I remember seeing they got 9 deer out of McCandless.
Depends on which month. I think that was just the one month.
Okay.
They didn't harvest anywhere near as many deer as we would have expected. with
Yeah.
the deer population.
And you say that's just because
Well,
the folks
partly
involved.
that's
were-
only on the canvas. That's just Wall Park, Potter Park, and so forth,
Okay.
and then it's trying to get, like between my house and North Park, there's these big long strips, they're like 20 acres. They go from Old Coomer all the way over basically to my house, just a long strip. And if that homeowner doesn't let somebody hunt in there, you're blowing up, or if they're hunting it and they're trophy hunting, so the deer just run back and forth.
when you're doing your hike in there, can you note if there's trash, debris? We're always looking for areas for the Key Club or the Scouts to get in there and just kind of clear out junk that's accumulated, tires, whatever.
It's not that much in Wall Park, maybe at the very top end is where people come down from their backyard and build little lean-tos and things down there.
Right.
Um,
I think that's what I've seen, but
Maybe this is
it's,
one walk down through there. The trash from litter really is, I forget the name of the road, the sloop.
a long slope there.
That's bad along there.
Well, yeah, I've taken a
It's
lot
also
out
not
of there,
very-
yeah.
It's also not a very nice place to. With where it levels out down where they have the guardrails, that you can get on the other side of the guardrails, but that going up the hill, that's kind of not road.
Right.
user-friendly.
Okay.
I pick up stuff every time I'm out there, but it's just, you know, I don't make much of a dent.
No, thanks for the update, Ken. Yeah, keep us posted on what you figure out when you get out there and.
Mark, John and I will get, you know, we'll get out there within the next 2 weeks. you know.
Great. And then, yeah, keep in mind that we'd all like to join you for one once the weather is
But when we have a,
decent.
when we have a plan figured out what we want to do.
Got it.
Then we'll walk where we want to do that, and then we'd like to have some estimates of costs and all of that. and then-
Okay.
and we're-
Ken, did you say you were looking for grants too for that?
We had done 2 grants last year. I didn't do those. The gentleman that was taking care of that before me did, and meeting with having the state representative sign off on them and all of that kind of thing. They're just very, very competitive. And it's just, you know, we were getting, multiple years we've been denied. And from my perspective, it's a black hole. I mean, it's like you come up with a plan of what you want to do, and then, well, it's on hold until we get grant money, and then you don't get grant money, and you're past the budget process, and so it's
It can be
a little
frustrating.
frustrating. shall we
Yeah.
say.
Right. Any idea what the sort of general, I know you don't have an exact estimate, but
When we looked at it 4 years ago, using a group that, this is mostly staying out of the wetlands. Doing, you know, like a mountain bike hiking trail.
yeah,
We figured it'd be around $20,000 to do that, and there are people that do that. A lot of them are people that have just been released from jail, trying to get their feet back on the ground and stuff like that.
okay,
That organization, and some of it can be done by volunteers and stuff, but I think it's really better to have people that actually know what they're doing it, you know. Although the 2 people that I'm doing this with, this is their organizations, this is what they do. So
oh, I see, okay.
Any other questions? Now, we'll move on to the next item is the stream cleanup that Jack and sorry, I should have Dawn on here as well, is working with Jack. I did get started on a project form for that. And I put what little information I could come up with and then passed it on.
You know, I
Up to you
couldn't
guys,
figure out
so-
how to get that form. So I don't know what I'm doing. They
Oh,
gave me.
You know what,
I mean,
Jack? I don't mind taking care of it for us.
Okay, good.
Once we've finished, meeting and we know what we're gonna do, I'm happy to, get in that form for us and get it cleaned up for Judy. I can help you
Good.
with, it. I don't mind.
So it sounds like it's still a work in progress between Dawn and Jack.
But I just
Yeah.
wanted to
ahead.
elaborate on a few things if I
Okay,
might.
great.
Okay, I did write to Bob Grimm, telling him what our intentions were. I wanted to know what the rules of engagement were.
Mhm.
And he said the town under the permit is allowed to go 50 feet or 50 feet upstream or downstream of anywhere they cross. And he had an issue with us walking on people's property. I asked that, would the town be willing to send an opt-out letter to all the inhabitants along Pine Creek saying, we intend to be there such and such a date. If you don't want us there, please advise us. So, and then he's worried about us taking things out of the stream. He says we could take it off the banks. So I think as long as you have a PA fisherman's license, you're allowed in the stream. So we could come, kind of not actually circumvent the rules, but we're working within the rules.
Yeah.
But I would think we would need to require anybody walking in the stream have a fishing license, and we're not allowed to remove any sediment or anything of that nature. It would only, I told him we'd only be removing, say, building materials, tires, and trash.
So the idea would
Yeah.
be to,
I-
go ahead, Dawn.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, it's just, the idea would be to kind of put the refuse on the side or bring it down the creek until you got to a crossing point where you could load it onto a vehicle or something. You know,
Correct.
is that, okay. What's the, I don't, what would be like max
So-
distance?
Well, can I jump in real quick? So Jack and I still have to get together and talk about this. We've only been able to really have one conversation about it so far. We've talked about, you know, how we would deal with the homeowners, but I tell you, you know, we actually have several more options, and I was out sort of citing the creek, at least along the Vestal Trail area, which doesn't involve any homeowners, and we don't have to deal with that issue. And I think we have some of our work cut out for us already in that section of the creek. But I'm also concerned that we're not going to exactly get tons of volunteers the first time we schedule this going out. So, you know, I'm sort of, and Jack and I need to talk about this some more, but you know, I'm sort of thinking that potentially we might want to focus it to just the area along the Vestal Trail, at least this first go round. And if that's the case, you know, we're going to have to talk about this, but sort of we would identify a couple points where, you know, we would work with the town to create some collection areas that we would put the debris, and then they would bring some folks in, to some township folks to then get that debris, you know, removed. And there is the ability for township trucks to go at least some of the way down Vestal Trail. And there's some other access points. So yeah, so Jack and I, and Jack might want to make a couple more points, but we did have the initial conversation. You know we still need to talk about how we're going to recruit and who we're going to recruit. We did have, I think, a few brief conversations or touch on that a little bit when we talked. We're going to need people with waders who are going to be the people actually in the creek. And then I think a lot of the volunteers are going to be people up on the bank carrying the stuff away from the folks that are, you know, lifting it up out. The volunteers that, you know, that I'm going to at least solicit to recruit are going to be some master watershed stewards and some of the PA trout. What's the name of that? You know, the
Trout
fishing.
Unlimited?
Thank you. And those folks all, you know, have waders and fishing licenses. So I think as far as the folks that we'll have in the water, you know, I am aware of what those rules are about having a fishing license and that you're not allowed to remove silt and all that sort of stuff. So we'll make sure that we definitely, to Bob Grimm's concerns, that we don't, you know, violate the Clean Water Act in any sort of way. But I definitely think Jack and I probably really aren't in a great position to sort of pitch this cleanup just yet. We still have a lot of fact finding to do and planning to do. At the EAC conference that I attended a couple of weeks ago, there was actually some EACs that mentioned that they've done some stream cleanup. So I've reached out to some of those. I'm waiting to hear back about, you know, how they set it up and what some of the logistics were and pain points were for them. So I suspect that next month we'll have a much more detailed update on this for you guys.
Dawn, I have good news for you. I talked to IFPLL, which used to be the
Oh, yes.
IFPA, the Ingomar Franklin Park. It was Athletic Association. It's now Little League. Okay.
Mhm.
So they think they could probably get 40 volunteers to help clean up the Vestal Park area.
Nice. Hey,
So-
Dave, just so you know what's going on here, I mentioned to Jack, because he mentioned he was meeting with the baseball association down there at Vestal Park, that especially this time of year, walking around those ball fields themselves, there's so much litter that's blown down from the ball fields and into that wetland area. But you can, right now is when you can see it, when there's no vegetation. So thank you, Jack, because I think we've tried to hit them up before and haven't gotten a bite, if I remember very early on. So are they wanting to provide 40 volunteers on the days that we're doing the cleanups, or?
Oh, no, this would, well, we can do it anytime. It'd be in March. So
Okay.
that'd be prior to ours. And unfortunately, I'm going to miss the one on the 9th because we have educational thing that we have to go to for the town, but I'll make the second. But we could do just a separate Vestal cleanup
Okay,
early on.
we'll get with Dave on that.
By the way, Vestal's closed right now.
Right.
Another pole fell down.
Hmm.
And they're tall poles. They're the light
They like
standards.
the ones out here.
No, they're like
They're
taller.
taller.
They're like
Okay.
60 feet tall. They're tall. And that's the second one to blow over in
Me
2
too.
years. So they actually had engineers down there, I believe, today inspecting all the other ones
Mhm.
to make sure that they're safe before we let anybody else
Wow.
back on the fields.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt. You'd just be smush.
Jack, are you thinking that the Little League group would do a cleanup or
Yes.
other groups would come?
No,
Oh, the
Little-
Little League group would do a
Yes.
cleanup. Okay,
The
cool.
parents,
Okay, right.
I'm sure the kids would.
The kids would.
And
If they
Jack,
wanna-
are they gonna do that this March? Like,
Yes,
okay, do they need?
we have to do some coordination. Yeah, we have to figure out, how to bag it and where to put it and all that good stuff there. Because it clearly doesn't have the dumpsters down there right now.
So they need our help with disposal. What about with like materials, bags and things? Or are they gonna provide their own?
If we can supply them, I'm sure they would appreciate that.
We have bags and gloves. But they have to wait until the park gets opened, right?
Right.
That the light pole deal gets
Correct.
resolved. Yeah.
I like the idea of the opt-out.
Great.
To get back to that, I think there's probably gonna be very few people that will opt out of helping to clean up the creek in their backyard, right?
You never know.
Yeah.
There's some.
Okay, we'll leave it at that, yeah.
There's some strange, definitely strange people in the creek.
Creek people.
Yeah, the creek.
All right, great. Thanks for the update on that, Don and Jack.
Don, can I ask one question? The debris that you saw, is the debris in the wet or is it on the bank in the dry?
Good start.
So
What do you-
as far as along the creek bed, there's some debris along the dry. But there's also some in the creek. It's mainly, there's some tires here and there and other kind of debris like that. Wood and planks and, things that must break off of people's decks or the little bridges that go across the creeks or something. I'm not really sure. There's a toilet on the one side of Oak Ridge, right outside the creek that looks like somebody dumped. And once we're actually in there, I suspect we'll find some more balls and things like that in the creek. I haven't been into all the bends yet, but generally tires and things like that are what we're going to see in smaller, tires, and then I think smaller down. And then some wood.
Right, okay.
Thanks again.
Yep.
All right, Tony, is there any update on solar?
Yeah, mine's pretty short. The only update is I got the information I needed from Bob. And so I went ahead and submitted the Get Solar program initial application. I haven't heard back from Leo. He's kind of the head on that, so the lead on that. So I'll probably follow up with him next week if I don't hear from him. And then we'll see what next steps are.
Okay.
I've never been through this application process, so we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see where it goes. Yeah.
All right, great.
Have you seen all the solar panels on the roof of CCAC?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I saw those. Yeah, it's
Be a
that
good
whole-
source for you to talk to.
Yeah, I talked to, oh shoot. Their facilities manager, she said they save, I think, $27,000 a year from that solar array. And it's a power purchase agreement. We've talked
Right.
about this before. So they've invested $0. They don't have to maintain it or anything. And they save 27,000 a year. So yeah, so I thought that was a pretty cool little success story, and obviously the environmental benefits and stuff there too. So they went through a company called BAI, I think BAI Development or something. So I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure that Get Solar reaches out to a lot of the developers around. And I think we've talked about SRE is one of the managers I know pretty well. So I've reached out to him to see if this is feasible. And BAI would be another company to reach out to. So I'll check with what is it? PA Solar Center is the one who runs this Get Solar program, to see if they work with BAI. And if not, maybe I could reach out to them directly too. But the more bids, the better. If in fact the system, our issue is I don't know if the system's really big enough for them, for it to make it economically viable for those guys. So that's the one area.
You mean just the roof of the town hall here?
Yeah, I think we were talking about town hall and was it Public Works building? Is that- Yeah, yeah, I think
The
those are the, yeah.
I don't know whether I'm speaking out of hand or not, but McCandless Township Sanitary Authority might be able to be another resource.
Yeah, great point. So one of our issues is we have, I think we consume, I forget, 200, I have it in here, but it's something like 250,000 kilowatt hours a year or something, which is pretty, it's on the low end of kind of doing a power purchase agreement. McCandless Township Sewer Authority, it's something like 600,000 or 700,000, right? So if we were able to combine with them, it would work out really well. So I've reached out to, we had a meeting, Bob and I, with MTSA.
Bill
and,
Youngblood,
what's that?
Bill Youngblood.
Yeah, Bill, yeah. So I'd request, this was back in November, I'd requested some information from him regarding their consumption, and what we need to know is their electricity rate to see if they save any money, right? Because their electricity rate's going to be lower than what we'd have in this building. So yeah, I reached out to him a number of times and didn't get a reply. So that's why we said, I said to Bob last month, like, do you just want to move on, right? It's been a few months and I haven't heard anything. So
I'm on that board,
okay, all right.
so I'll help you.
Yeah, oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, if you can reach out to Bill, and if he's, like I said, I don't know for sure that they would have a savings with the solar. So I could see his sort of hesitancy,
Right.
but at least let's try and figure it out. If not, we can move on to.
Nothing ventured, nothing done.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great idea. That was one of the first things we thought of too. Yep. Yep. Well, the other idea, and I think David, you brought that up again last, was if we can somehow combine with North Allegheny School District, you can imagine their consumption would be off the charts, I'm sure. And they have a lot of roof space and things like that. So I have not reached out to them yet. In fact, Matt, Dawn and I owe you guys some information, but we were talking about what was the Green Ribbon Schools was what we were talking about last month. So it's possible that maybe we can have a relationship with North Allegheny School District. Yeah. So.
And don't forget about our fire halls.
Yeah, I wonder, yeah, that might be, like if we had a few of them together. The other idea that and again, I've never seen this before, but combining potentially, maybe Franklin Park wants to do it and we do it, right? So then,
Right.
Then we can kind of up the amount of usage. Maybe there's a couple other municipalities that would want to. I think what happens is you can imagine they have to go through, engineering and permitting and stuff like that, and procure the materials and all these like kind of soft costs. And for them to do a smaller project doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if they could do all that for a number of buildings, they happen to be in the same geographical region, I would imagine that would still be worthwhile for them. So anyway, yeah, so I think that's I should reach out to Franklin Park because they have the EAC also.
Right.
Yeah.
Teacher sustainability.
So the buildings don't need to be like next to each other.
Yeah.
That's a really dumb question, but
No, it's not.
like
No.
this building and that building are right next to each other, but,
Yeah.
or the, well, that's not a fire station. The ambulance station is over there, but
Yeah.
Technically, there has to be, and I don't know how this would work in a municipality situation or even a power purchase agreement, but there is some net metering rules that if you wanted to consume the electricity at a location, it has to be within a 2-mile radius of the production. So if you had like on a land, if you own land that was 2.5 miles away, you couldn't use that electricity. It's kind of, it almost seems arbitrary, these numbers, but that's the rule.
I think you had something about the volunteer fire departments. I mean, there's a significant amount of volunteer
Yeah,
fire
fire
departments.
departments, yeah.
And now I'm not sure how much energy they use, but
Yeah, I guess, what would that be? Almost like I don't want to say community solar, but something like a number of entities going in it together. But I like that idea, volunteer fire departments. And then I'll see if I can reach out to the the other EAC as well.
Do you need a contact over there?
Yeah, if you wouldn't
I
mind,
have Jim Porcelli,
Jim Porcelli, okay.
and I can either, well, Dave and I both have his email.
Yeah, I could probably look it up on their website.
I had to,
Oh, no, okay.
I went
No, okay.
through a bunch of, a couple of years ago, getting his contact information, because I don't think it didn't used to be on the website.
Mhm,
I can certainly get it to you.
okay.
Yeah, I can look it up while some other things are going on.
Okay.
Oh, sure. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
And
Well,
he's seems like a
hopefully.
really nice guy,
Yeah.
so. All right, that's it for the project updates. We have quite a number of community outreach efforts going too. The first thing I had on here was Dawn, I don't know, you kind of mentioned a few things about I know I called it the annual meeting. What was it called? The EAC? You're muted.
Sorry, it's the annual networking conference.
Annual networking conference, okay.
Yeah, Matt, did you get to attend? Did you? No, okay. So yeah, I don't know, since we're going sort of, we've got a lot tonight. Do you still want to go to it tonight, or do you want to table it till next meeting?
If you're okay with that, if you have, I know last year I was able to send some links.
Yeah, I sort of wanted to get some materials together to send you guys, which I haven't done.
Gotcha.
So, I have no problem, like, if you want to bump this to next, that way I can get like a pre-read out to you at least, and the links and just sort of the highlights, and then might
No,
make it a
that's
little faster to go through when we do
Yeah,
go
if
through.
you're willing to do that, that's fine. Then
Yeah,
we'll-
we can do that.
that's
That's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
And next up, I call it the STEM programs here. It's the Green Ribbon Schools. It sounds like that's something that's a work in progress as well.
Yeah, that's true. We're just in the process of kind of gathering the information that we need in order to get it to the school district. We put together a list of the different extracurricular clubs that are involved in the middle school and high school that would have some sort of environmental bent to them, and there are quite a few. So we just are trying to figure out, Dawn is reaching out to some contacts she has to figure out who we should approach with this. And then I'm waiting on a little bit of info from Dawn and from Tony to put together into a kind of a presentation. Well, we don't exactly know the format of the presentation yet because we don't know who we're talking to, but
Right.
just want to gather the information that we have so that when we go to the school, we can say, hey, here are the projects that we're looking at. We're interested in helping you get this green ribbon. It's not technically a certification, but it's just on a list essentially. If there's anything we can do, we just want to be a part of that. So yeah, work in progress.
Okay, great. Thanks for the update, and thanks for working through all that, trying to find the contacts. Next up, I guess, is me with the speaker series event. Been talking with Tony and also with Katie Coleman at the library, and it looks like May 24th, which is a Tuesday, is the date we have picked out for our next speaker series event. And Tony is going to put a program together on residential and commercial solar opportunities.
Yeah,
And Katie's very excited about that idea. She thinks the constituency and the folks that would take part in their programs, so that'll be very well received. So we're just starting to work through the logistics of that.
well, one thing, and maybe the committee could comment on this, I think, what is it, hour 15 minutes, I think, or is it an hour long?
Yeah, we
I
try and keep the presentation itself to about an hour at the most.
Yeah.
And leaving a half an hour or so for discussion.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I'm not sure if we can get into both, depending on how much detail. I mean, residential can be pretty detailed, and I figured I would definitely focus on that.
Okay,
I didn't know if there was, commercial gets into obviously large scale, like building mount and ground mount, and then you can even get into, solar farms and stuff like that.
I think if
don't
you
know.
could talk for an hour on residential, I
Yeah.
think we're fine.
That's
just
what I
sticking
thought.
with that.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
okay, that's great. Yeah.
And then I know Tony and I had a conversation about all the different ideas he's got and how often we're going to run these speaker series events.
Daily. Daily, right?
Daily.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Um,
we were talking about, we try and do it monthly or quarterly.
Yeah,
and
the
it-
the original plan with
Yeah.
this was to do it quarterly, which obviously has kind of tumbled off. We've been lucky to get yearly here the past couple of years. But so we're trying to work out how often we do these and also piggybacking these as well. The next item is NAEC, who has also been coming to me with ideas for presentations. So what we have so far, working with the May Speaker Series event with Tony and working through North Lane Public Library. And then the next program is NAEC, still would like to do their Streamscapes program that we had initially hoped to do this month, but weren't sure that we'd have access to Town Hall. So we are now talking about June dates for that one. And NAAC has come to me with a second idea as well, which would be, I guess, and Dawn, you probably know more about this too, watershed friendly property certification program.
I do, and that's something that's on the list of projects that I'm wanting to talk to you guys about eventually. I have a number of ideas that I just haven't brought forward yet. Yeah, that's a great program.
Maybe that's something I can work together with you and with Mary
With
Wilson.
Beth and Mary Wilson. Yep, Mary. So interestingly enough, I found out that one of my fellow watershed stewards is going to be conducting the Streamscape seminar for us. So it should be great. He's very knowledgeable. It's going to be good.
Okay. So we have, and that along with the other ideas that Tony has, we may end up with a whole summer series is what it's looking like. So I'll keep you posted and maybe next month, if we have a little bit more time, we can dig into some of Tony's other ideas and start highlighting where we think we need to go next after we do solar.
Do we want to discuss, I know we had kind of a brief conversation. We could potentially have a summer series where, we do May, June, July, August, kind of, that's 4 speakers, or we could do a quarterly, right? And so we have sort of spread. So I don't know if anyone has any thoughts or if there's any
I have a
advantage.
thought.
Or- Yeah. Okay.
I
go
have a
ahead.
thought. So about a summer series, something that's been noodling around in my head is I was thinking that for the green spaces, maybe we should start a sort of a get to know your green spaces series and host. I was thinking maybe we could host a walk, and this would be great to do in the summertime. We could do, June, July, August, and pick some of the different green spaces that we have, but invite the community out to take a walk with the EAC, get introduced to a green space that they may not know exists or they haven't been to before. And we can, have somebody on that walk that's knowledgeable about the plants and, the trees and the ecosystem generally, whatever, can give some sort of a lecture while they're talking or, some sort of an educational piece, maybe as part of the walk. But I was thinking, so many people don't even know where so many of our green spaces are. Maybe we should think, because the NAAC does those walks, and that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe we should, so maybe that's something we could sort of work into a summer series. Just to
Okay, well, it
follow.
sounds like I may have to farm some of this out to somebody else. I'm willing to do maybe one of these a month through the summer. Looks like we have so many ideas, we may need to, kind of discuss this a little more.
Yeah, if you get into those, I can guide them. that's all.
Okay, no, I think that's a great idea because I enjoy those things. And in fact, Beth Dutton took me on a walk through Potter Park.
Oh, did she?
last
Nice.
fall
Well,
sometime.
her walk on the Vestal Trail was so nice. And I thought, really we should do that with the community, invite the community to come along. And
Well, as part of their Streamscapes program, they would like to do that again as a lead in to the June event.
Excellent.
An in-person workshop. They would like to do that again, possibly the month before as a lead into their workshop.
Perfect.
So,
Well, great. Beth can walk us on Vestal again.
yep. So that's kind of in the process. We're trying to work out some dates on those.
Don, there's definitely people that we've met at our tables at Community Day or Garden in the Park. We have a map of green spaces and they look at it and where I live and then, you know, this is where I live and, oh, there's Potter Park. Oh, there's, you know, they don't even know that it's there.
Mhm.
And Vessel Park and all, you know, so I
It
think
took
that's.
me weeks to find Potter Park, even though I to it and I found it on a map and I went there multiple times. I still wasn't even sure I was there. And then I called the town. Like, yeah, it's a mess.
No, that's a great idea. And maybe that's something you and I should chat about.
Yeah, we'll chit chat about it.
It's because there's really not much to setting that up other than
Really just picking a date and
And-
having somebody from the, one or two people from the EIC that are committed to showing up and leading the, the walk. If
Mhm. And the publicity, decide if we would need to sign up or not, or just, you know what, come on out.
Yeah.
All right. No, that's great. Thank you. I think that's what I had for community outreach. Next miscellaneous. Beth Dutton has sent me another draft tip for the next McMail. I think the title of this one is Be Kind to Your Streams, just basically where the water from your streams. I don't know, I have to read it again. She's working through some other folks having it proofread right now. But just basically, where the water goes from wastewater and how everything filters down through the system. So a nice little write-up, and so there's another one out of our hands. So I'm still willing to take any write-ups another group will give me. So I thought she did a nice job last month too.
Do we know who's up on the month after that?
Probably whoever wants it.
Oh,
Because
so
it's-
for that.
Frankly, we've, they,
Are you thinking
NAUC's helped
solar?
us for a couple months. Are you
Sun's out,
volunteering?
yeah. I could volunteer and do solar.
Okay, all
It would
right,
lead
everyone's
into
fighting
the-
over it now. This is great.
It would lead into the residential.
No, we certainly can do that.
Yeah.
That's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So don't let me forget that Tony has McMail for the May edition.
Maybe.
So
Get some public attention on it.
great. All right, thank you. And next I had just SharePoint access update. I see I had an email, I think today. I have not dug into that yet, but that told me I have access.
Yeah,
So
everything
probably
that's
all got
there,
the email from Andy.
everything that's there is from you.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, I got in. Thank you, John.
The strange thing is I got in and I don't know if I was looking at it wrong. On my computer, it was blank. It didn't show anything. But on my phone, everything showed up. So I don't know if that's some strange thing on my computer. If it continues.
I'm not sure, like, I'm probably gonna check via the app and then via browser to see what the difference is there too. But,
Yeah.
Might want to shut your computer down and turn it back on.
Hey, thanks, IT. Yeah. No, I'll let you know if it continues. Yeah.
For my last council meeting, I've tried to go in through my iPad and it wanted to take me into Microsoft something or other. But you could do it on my phone, it would take me into Zoom. So there's some kind of something going on.
Interesting. Yeah. I'll check it again. I don't want you to don't.
I'd say if anyone has
Burden.
any serious issues like that, Jack, obviously reach out directly to Andy about that.
Right.
Same thing, if anyone has any serious questions, you can try to figure it out.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
all right. Thank you very much, John.
John, who is Andrew?
He's our IT consultant.
Oh, consultant, okay.
Yeah, the company's TM Computing. He's sort of like the lead guy. We
Okay.
deal with most.
All right,
Sure.
topics for next month's meeting. I know Dawn's going to come back with more information from the networking conference. As always, it's nice if you update me before the next meeting as to whether you have a report or not, or, update me on where you are so I can keep the agenda relevant. Does anyone else have anything else they wanted to discuss before our town council report?
I'll probably have information on both of my topics that I didn't have anything for this time.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
I just have something real quick, and I don't know if this is the time to discuss it or if it's something we should discuss next month, or maybe there's no discussion at all. But I was recently engaged in a discussion on social media regarding recycling of glass in McCandless, and there was talk of what's going on. Is anything happening? Some people are like, just throw it away. Why are you wasting your time? Other people were taking it to Franklin Park. Some were taking it to Ross. But there were a lot of people who were curious if McCandless was going to do something, because there had been, I guess, mentions of it from time to time.
Right.
So I just wanted to bring it up and see if there was any movement on that.
Right, I'll turn that one over to John.
Yeah, great
Um,
question.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we've officially reached out to PRC, Pennsylvania Resources Council, to say that we do want to move forward with doing like a drop-off type program, like they have at Hampton, Ross, et cetera. So.
Does that cost anything, or,
yeah.
oh,
does.
you have to
Yeah.
pay
I
to
don't know
have the
the
bin on
cost, but I mean,
site?
it's-
But there's a cost if we don't too.
Yeah.
Because you're paying.
And
per
the
pound.
cost if we don't is greater than the cost if we do. And I
Yeah.
believe the cost is like $11,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
That's what I was gonna say,
Oh, really?
updating council, but
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
it looks like they should be able to accomplish this within the next month.
Oh,
Excellent.
Oh, that's
So-
great.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll have a drop off like somewhere near the
Yes.
building, and then, got it. Okay. I dropped mine off at Franklin Park. Yeah. so-
I've got 2 bags in my garage. My husband's getting kind of mad at me because I haven't taken them anywhere. But now I'll tell him, wait another month and
That's
I'll
right.
take care of it.
I don't know if anybody read their report. I don't know where I read it, but apparently our residents almost until this year, last year at least, they recycled almost 50% of their trash. And the Pennsylvania state average is around 36%. And we were at 49 something.
That's
Okay.
good.
So
That's awesome.
we do a good job as a town recycling.
Yeah, yeah. And
So this will
what-
be welcome.
And we held on to that whole recycling stream, I think, a couple years longer than
Most,
the
yes.
other municipalities did. So thank you for bringing that up again, Matt. Appreciate that.
Is that the idea that it is happening soon? Is that public knowledge, or is that something that should not be shared at this point?
I wouldn't share it until the paperwork is signed.
Okay.
It's based on my emails back and forth with Bob Grimm.
Okay.
This is a public meeting.
Yeah, but there's only 3 people signed in.
One from YouTube too, so.
Yeah.
7 people know about it.
I mean, I guess less is it public knowledge and more is it something we want to be talking a lot about? You know what I mean? Like that's really what I'm at.
We're not publicizing it yet. That works.
The good news is help is on the way.
Yeah.
That's good. yeah.
That is good.
That is good to know. All right, so Jack, go ahead.
That's what I was gonna
That was
say.
your report. Okay. No, that's good news. I've been wondering about
Can I
that as well.
continue that conversation? Like, so they got rid of, remember it was plastics all the way through 7.
Mhm.
So I actually didn't realize this. I'm eating cottage cheese today. I flip it over. I thought it would be a 2. It was at 5, so I threw it in the garbage. But is there a way to drop that stuff off too? I'm not saying we have to do
No,
it here.
because there's
but-
absolutely zero market for that.
Yeah, right. So there's
Okay.
like no way. I mean, I've heard that those numbers are a little harder to recycle, and
Exactly.
you're basically using a lot of virgin plastics and stuff
Right.
like that anyway. So so maybe
Glass
it's
is
not even-
much more ubiquitous, they can grind that up and it's really in a lot of things in like dashboards are made out of cullet, which is ground glass. So there's a still a good use for glass.
Yeah,
Okay.
and glass and metal are well, they say infinitely recyclable. You can get 100% back what you put in. With plastics, it's not even the 1s and 2s. You still have to put virgin plastics in. You can maybe get 2 to 3, maybe depending on whatever mix it is, up to 5 times recyclability. But we don't get that infinite type of
Right.
yeah.
Makes really nice Amish furniture.
Oh, yeah?
That's what all that polywood is.
Oh.
So milk cartons.
Oh, got it.
Okay.
Interesting.
Very good.
Question for Jack is, back in the early days of the EAC, one of our first activities was we took a tour of the recycling facility down in Keys Rocks or wherever it
Neville
is.
Island?
Neville Island.
Neville Island down there.
Yeah.
It was kind of a joint effort with us and Ohio Township. Most of the EAC was there, I think. Jason Singer was there. I'm trying to think of. Right.
I think it was shortly before my time.
Yeah, it was before you. Jason Singer was there. Kim was there. But it was a real eye opener in terms of what happens from your container to get to the actual, single stream recycling center. So I didn't know if that's something that we'd be interested in doing again, inviting council to attend. It's usually, the better part of a morning. Some of us can do that pretty easily, others with work schedules can't, but just something to think about. I guess John would.
I would just need to reach out to Erica at Waste Management. She sort of does PR and such.
Right.
So I think really the big challenge is we find the dates mutually agreeable to everyone,
Right.
especially if you start getting council involved. That could be,
They have a kind of a meeting room down there and they did a
Yeah.
little presentation or something, and then you go out and you look at the actual sorting machines and where
Right.
it comes out and
Right.
all the stuff is blowing all over the place and what happens to your paper and that kind of thing. They talk about how it's, the loads are contaminated and that kind of thing. So it was really interesting, I thought.
To that
So,
point, we could probably do a better job educating the community how to recycle.
Right.
Because I'm sure the way we recycle, probably a lot of stuff isn't recyclable. It's just they're using it as a trash bin.
That's right, yeah.
Well, and maybe
That's one
that's
of the
another
problems.
speaker series opportunity.
Yeah, that's a
Or
great
like a
idea.
McMail tips, we could do like a McMail tip series, couple in a row about
Mhm.
recycling.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
one of the things they talked about when we went on the tour too. It said
Right.
when single stream first started like 20 or so years ago, they're like, if you think it's recyclable, try to recycle it. And that's kind of why we're in this problem where nothing recyclable anymore because too much trash.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a garbage bin, it's a recycle bin, right? Yeah.
I see it all the time walking the dog in my back neighborhood. People use the recycling bins as overflow for trash. I see it all the time.
Well, I have one of my neighbors says that I don't recycle because it all goes in the garbage can anyway. So he doesn't believe recycling actually exists at all.
Right.
I don't know if that's a education piece or not, but but it does seem like some people don't believe that the waste
Right.
management exists on Neville Island, right? That it's not there.
Well, and it's probably a good time since has been a lot of confusion the past couple of years as all of the companies have dropped the single stream and really
Glass,
started
yeah.
limiting what they'll take. I think you're right. I think a lot of people just have kind of written it off and said, oh, it's not happening. So this may be a really good time to,
Speaker
To
series is
reach
a good
out.
idea, I think. Yeah,
Yes.
because if you can get someone from waste management with some knowledge, I think, yeah, that would be.
very helpful. Okay.
And I think people may not be aware of, like the statistic you had with how much we
Mhm.
really do. With a little bit of effort, we can, make a big
It
difference.
just goes to show you the town is pretty responsible.
Right, right. And the whole thing with cardboard now is, the last 2 years, everybody's cardboard consumption has gone through the roof.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's a whole other thing.
Maybe we should get Amazon to recycle.
I thought it was Aldi's because you can't use the bag. You have to use the boxes that they have
Costco
there.
does that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Any additional comments, questions? All right, good reports, good meeting. Thank you. And no public comments. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
All right, second?
Second.
All right. Motion is out there and seconded. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed.
Really?
All right, meeting is adjourned.
Let that move
All
on.
right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Cheers.
Good night.
Thanks, you too.